Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Razor Slothz Tech team as we prepare to get underway with round 3 of the championship. So far has not been the most thrilling in terms of results, having missed out on all of our power unit upgrades that we were not allowed to invest in over the break. So we're a little bit set back at the moment. But never mind, we're going to continue on anyway, and hopefully by now we've managed to catch back up, because we are really going to need that power unit to help us out on the straights here. In fact, we'll go in and pick up a cylinder head upgrade, which we're not going to get until Imola, unfortunately. But at least we're getting a few more less major updates coming through. We're also going to head over, get this build time upgrade for the durability department, because we still need to finish Spec 2 and everything before I'm allowing myself to continue on. And unfortunately, given that we're at my most hated race of the entire calendar, I think, we've got a sprint race, which means I've got twice as much work to do here in terms of driving the car. We'll head over for the first practice session, then the second, and then we're pretty much straight into the sprint race. So at the moment, we'll see what we can find here. Not a huge amount. We're going to risk it for the 25%. We do get it for the weight reduction upgrade, and that is something we really need at the moment. And then we're qualifying out the way. We're straight over to practice 2 to pick up 150 more points, and then just try and find something that we can do here. Not the easiest of tasks to do. We're going to go for this 50% one. We'll get 2 good upgrades. We do get them, and unfortunately not enough time to continue. Right then, over to Azerbaijan Grand Prix. As I mentioned before, this is the circuit that I hate the most. I hated it before I turned off the traction control, and I hate it even more now, even though in the past I remember liking it a little bit. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when all of these races are uploaded. And you'll see through the course of this cursed season I've created how many of these races I come to despise. But starting off the sprint race on the front row is a Ferrari lockout, with Carlos Sainz taking pole position ahead of his teammate Charles Leclerc. Behind them, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and George Russell, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Lando Norris and Alex Albon. Then Oscar Piastri and Lance Stroll, Jack Doohan and Yuki Tsunoda, Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas, Logan Sargent and Kevin Magnussen, Theo Pourchaire and Radiant Slothz, followed by Nick De Vries and Nico Hulkenberg, just about showing off how much I struggle with this track, which doesn't help the fact that I hate it even more because of that. So starting right near the back with the slow cars, we'll see how much ground we can make up within this sprint race. Right then, down to the circuit we go for the first of 2 races, which is very much appealing to me, having to do this race twice. But it's away we go for the penultimate row of the grid, and we're not making up any ground so far before turn 1, but now we dive down the inside, getting past multiple slow cars and splitting the 2 Alfa Romeos there, going into turn 2. We've got Valtteri Bottas looking up the outside. Down the inside of Zhou Guanyu we go. Do we get the move done? It's really hard to see because everyone is in the way, but yes, we are past Zhou Guanyu, and we continue on down towards turn 3. Up ahead, we've got Yuki Tsunoda there as we open up the MFD for some brake balance. Down the inside of Tsunoda, bit of contact there, but at this circuit, I do not care, and we're through. Unfortunately, they're closing off the MFD there as we were just unable to get the brake balance working in any configuration throughout this entire weekend, and hated every second of it. Over to the start. Not the best start there, lots of wheel spin off the line. Theo Pourchaire actually having a better start than us in the Williams, but we dive up the inside and cautious into turn 1 that we don't go spearing into the side of someone. Taking away positions from Bottas, then up the inside of Zhou Guanyu into turn 2, squeezing him just to the edge of the barrier and carrying on. This was our teammate, who apparently had even worse start than I did. I think a bit of the anti-stall there coming in, and some wheel spin, and he was passed by several cars and allowed the people in front of him to disappear into the distance. There we go, losing a place to the Haas as well, even as he came through turn 2. And, well, we've rejoined at the end of lap 1, chased down by Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. It's unclear whether Daniel Ricciardo will become his teammate in a future update to this game. I hope so, because he does some funny driver moves occasionally. But we defend into turn 1. Tsunoda's still there on exit as we come down towards turn 2. Some dust being kicked up by Stroll as Tsunoda gets up the inside. But can we retake the position away from him as we get a better exit? And we are just generally a much faster car than the AlphaTauri. We have just about got alongside him here. The setup isn't helping too much here, but we get up the inside and we're back up into P13 without any troubles. But that was the race, unfortunately. Or fortunately, there wasn't much to do for the majority of that, and it looks as though that the two Ferraris have managed to maintain position at the front of the field. That will be a Ferrari 1-2 in the sprint race as we come powering down towards the final, well, to the finish line. Across the line we go. One race down, and unfortunately another one to go, but what can you do? P13, 7 places up from where we started, and driver of the day for us as well. Just to really make it a little bit special. Here are the race results from the sprint with that Ferrari 1-2, followed by Max Verstappen on the podium as well. But that's all for the sprint, and now we're off to the main event. Right then, so main event time here in Azerbaijan, and up into P13 from the end of the sprint race. So we've got a chance of getting into the points here. Especially if we're able to overtake some drivers down into turn 1. But I think chasing up towards a podium or better, well, better certainly wouldn't be possible, but higher up the leaderboard, probably not likely. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell again, so you can come back here and check out some actual podiums that we'll be getting later on in the season. But once again, it is Carlos Sainz leading the pack away alongside his teammate Charles Leclerc on the front row, and behind them we will have the rest of the field, starting with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez and George Russell, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, Alex Albon and Lando Norris, then Lance Stroll and Oscar Piastri, followed by Radiant Slothz and Yuki Tsunoda, Joe Guan Yu and Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent, Teo Pourchaire, Nick De Vries, and on the back row it's Jack Doohan, who fell to 21st alongside Nico Hülkenberg. And well, that pretty much summarises his weekend as well. Jack Doohan also not having a good time and still yet to score any points despite coming extremely close on a couple of occasions, but his day will come very soon. Right then, once again, time for lights out here in Azerbaijan, and away we go off the line. Still in P13 immediately, but we'll take it cautiously into turn 1 with the McLarens making contact there with Lance Stroll as we go through turn 1. We're up 2 positions already, and one of the cars behind us looks to be a little bit injured as we come into turn 2, battling away with the Aston Martin and Lance Stroll. We do get ahead of him. Quite possibly, yes we are, and now we're chasing down our old rival Lando Norris down towards turn 3, who's in the other McLaren. On the brakes we go, later than him, up the inside, and away we go through into the point. And there's the answer to why we've been able to do that. Everyone's on the medium tyre to start this race, but we've opted to go for the soft to try and gain as many places as possible. But we may suffer for that decision later on, given the tyre wear around this circuit. We're going to have to be extra careful. This was the start for Oscar Piastri, the man who's been doing so well in Formula 1 recently, and it was Lance Stroll there who swerved to the left-hand side and hits Oscar Piastri there. The jealousy is on full display from the Aston Martin driver there, and Oscar Piastri did not deserve that in the slightest. But through we go onto the final kind of straight here. Norris in hot pursuit, Albon almost breaking away up ahead. So the two Ferraris, incredibly, have not thrown their chance and lost their 1-2. Lewis Hamilton goes wheel to wheel with Max Verstappen, takes P3 as they battle through turn 1. It's going either way, and we defend from Norris as we come down towards turn 1 ourselves. He's up the inside. We're going to swing it round the outside here, see if we can get a better exit down towards turn 2. More battling going away up ahead as well. Norris again up the inside, swerving all over the place there, but we do get through into the points once again. But now Lance Stroll, not satisfied with murdering one of the McLarens, is going to try and make it 2 for 2 here as we come down towards turn 3. He's tailgated us into turn 3. We go there side by side, and that's all we're going to see of that. This was Teo Pourchaire getting bronchitis from one of the Haas cars as it retired from the race of the castle section. And we rejoin on the end of lap 2, and you can see the tyre situation is not looking good here. Our rears are wearing at a rate of knots quite considerably compared to the fronts as Lance Stroll peaks alongside us there up the inside, but we're not going to let him through if we can help it. Into the braking zone at the end of turn 1. Stroll there on the inside. We can't turn in, but he has got the position away from us, but we are going to get the chance, I think, to DRS him down the straight. DRS open, and away we go. But the traction is beginning to disappear on the rears. It's not an issue yet, though. We go up the inside, past him, and on the brakes, we are ahead once again of the Aston Martin. And up ahead, a little battle there. We got the championship leader, Russell, fighting away with Gasly and Ocon. At least I think that's Ocon. Oh no, it's Albon. So, little fight going on there. Russell on the hard, so is losing out quite considerably. And as we rejoin on lap 5, you can see the issue with the tyres is just getting even worse now, as the rears are now almost 30% worn. Stroll is trying to find a way through as we just position our car in such a way to be a massive pain for him. And into turn 1 we go. I don't think we're going to be able to fight this anymore. We've just got nothing left at the rear to try and fight this this battle. And Norris is closing in as well. So if we fight too hard, we may just find ourselves with a McLaren behind us right when we don't want to see one. Monitoring this tyre situation, the whole race was a bit stressful. I'm realising at the rate at which that my rear tyres were burning off, I had to keep it open and just try to keep it in my mind not to stamp the accelerator out of every corner, which is going to be a bit difficult here because it is basically just 90-degree corners everywhere as we come down towards turn 1. Norris still in hot pursuit. Stroll is getting away from us now as Norris, he's got up the inside. Oh, but he's made contact with us. There's a piece of end plate coming off there from the McLaren. And much the same way as he threw away the championship on F122 with contact against a green car. Once again, green is his enemy as he loses his end plate and P11. We move back up just one place behind the points. This was the replay. We ran a little wide there, and he just ploughed straight into the side of us, obviously expecting us to just disappear. But that's not how F1 cars work. Into the pit lane we go, finally, to get rid of those worn tyres. And Norris is in as well. So he'll be out getting his front wing, so we don't need to worry about him coming out ahead of us. Unless, of course, the pit crew decides to do some weird magician stuff, like they're doing right now as oh my god, who just disappeared there? Interesting. So the front right had an issue just now, and we've still come out ahead of Piastri. And, of course, ahead of Norris, but not ideal for our race. Stroll, as we come out, we rejoined on lap 17, actually, given that I had not seen another car for the entirety of this race. That was the last time I saw anyone, was when we battled with Lando Norris. The gap to Gasly, nearly 10 seconds. But we are in the points, which means that we are about as consistent as we can be. Unsurprisingly, we've got a yellow flag for one, but the Ferraris have managed to throw away a 1-2. As we've got a Gasly is going off the road there on the final lap. Incredibly, we're actually going to double our point tally here at the race, which I think should be just nuked off the calendar. As we come down towards turn 3, 2 points to us, which is, well, better than nothing, and certainly better than 1 as well. But through we go. Hopefully, I never decide to come back to this track ever again. But things are going to be a bit different going forward. After this race, the racing line will be going. If you've been watching my streams, you will know that I've been racing without the racing line for about a week now. And as I recall, this is on the 30th of July. So about a week ago, we switched it off. Did some time trial, did some breaking point. Tried to figure things out. Mixed results so far. Some of the races that I'm not so familiar with are not yielding too good results, apart from Monaco, actually. So stick around until next Thursday for that one. And other than that, we're kind of just about getting up to speed. We did drop the difficulty slightly in order to compensate for my lack of time I was able to do. But we're improving, I think. It's going well. We'll see how it goes. But for this race, though, I will absolutely not ever want to put the racing line off for it and ever come back here again. Unless, of course, there is a race on the calendar that is even worse. I'm looking at you, Singapore, because you are not too different from this circuit. But anyway, we come down to the finish line. We are going to score points here in Azerbaijan, and across the line we go, nearly wiping out the Alfa Romeo there of, I think, Bottas. I wasn't paying attention to who that was, but we park it right in front of the crowd, which they are loving it. Driver of the day goes to Yuki Tsunoda, and on the podium, it's Lewis Hamilton picking up the 3rd win of the season. That is 3 for 3 for Mercedes. Are they resurgent? We, of course, saw George Russell pick up the 1st win of the season. He also won the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. So this is interesting. Can Mercedes do a Verstappen and Red Bull and win the championship? We'll just have to see. But he's joined on the podium there by Perez and Sainz after what has been an absolutely horrible race. Let's get on with the results. And here are the final results for the weekend. Lewis Hamilton picking up some points in the sprint race, but winning the race, so he topped off the entire weekend. He was followed by Carlos Sainz, who picked up the fastest lap in the race. Then Sergio Perez, all 3 of these guys on the podium. Behind them, we had Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, George Russell, Alex Albon, Lance Stroll, Pierre Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Zhou Guanyu, making 12 drivers picking up points this weekend. Over to the Drivers' Championship, George Russell still remains at the top of the table, ahead of Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Radiant Slothz, Pierre Gasly, and Lance Stroll. Further down the order, we have Esteban Ocon, Oscar Piastri, Valtteri Bottas, and Zhou Guanyu making up the final point scorers. They're followed by Lando Norris, Jack Doohan, Yuki Tsunoda, Kevin Magnussen, Turbo Pourchaire, Nick De Vries, Logan Sargent, and Nico Hülkenberg. And over to the constructors, it's a tight fight at the top, but Mercedes are still ahead of Red Bull by just 6 points. They're followed by Ferrari, Aston Martin, Alpine, Razor Sloth McLaren and Alfa Romeo, followed by Alfa Tauri, Haas and Williams. And that's all for this race. We'll catch you next time for Imola.